Let's go back to a time with no internet, no YouTube. Just one young journalist named Napoleon Hill, trying to figure out what makes people win big. He talked to legends like Henry Ford and Thomas Edison, and his book, Think and Grow Rich, became a total game changer for millions. Let's check out Hill's journey and why it's still a big deal. Napoleon Hill grew up in a one-room shack in rural Virginia. He lost his mom at 9. He was also a bit of a rebel, carrying a pistol and getting into scraps, until his stepmom set him straight by giving him a typewriter. From that moment, he started pouring his wild energy into writing. By 13, he was working for local papers to help his family. By his early 20s, Hill was gaining a reputation as a sharp young reporter, obsessed with one question: what separates those who succeed from those who don't? In 1908, at age 25, Hill lands a huge interview with Andrew Carnegie, the industrial titan who built a steel empire and was crazy rich. Hill says Carnegie gave him a wild task: spend 20 years studying America's top dogs. No pay, no guarantees. Some historians think Hill might have stretched that story a bit, but he went all in. He interviewed over 500 heavy hitters, presidents, inventors, you name it, to figure out what drove their success. For 20 years, Hill studied legends like Henry Ford, who made cars cheap enough for everyone; Thomas Edison, who bombed thousands of tries before the light bulb worked; Alexander Graham Bell, who invented the phone; and Charles M. Schwab, who shook up steel. Hill didn't just ask about their wins. He dug into how they thought and what habits kept them going. In 1937, with the Great Depression crushing people, Hill published Think and Grow Rich. It wasn't about quick cash. It was about thinking smarter. He came up with some big ideas. Here are 5 that stand out. 1. Definiteness of purpose. Pick a clear goal. Ford wanted cars every family could afford, not just any car. Hill found that without a sharp, defined aim, successful people went nowhere. 2. Faith and auto-suggestion. Tell yourself you can do it, believe it, and you'll start acting like it's true. Edison repeated affirmations about his inventions, even when people called him crazy. 3. Specialized knowledge. Get really good at one thing. Edison's deep dive into inventing made him a legend. Hill saw that generalists might have ideas, but specialists executed. 4. Persistence. Everyone Hill met hit walls, sometimes huge ones. Ford's early companies flopped, but he kept going. Persistence wasn't just about hard work. It was a mental game. Who could stay in the game long enough? 5. The mastermind. You need a solid crew. Schwab built his success with smart people around him. Hill saw that behind every great leader was a circle of minds helping refine ideas, catch blind spots, and accelerate growth. These ideas weren't magic. They were for anyone ready to hustle, from shop owners to kids with big plans. Here's the real talk on Hill. When Think and Grow Rich came out, he wasn't living the high life. He was broke, sometimes couldn't pay his bills. The 1930s were rough. Millions had no jobs. And Hill dealt with his own drama: a divorce, failed side gigs like magazines, and even a weird group that turned his ideas into some immortal baby cult nonsense. Some folks called him a dreamer or questioned his Carnegie story. But it went deeper. He often borrowed money just to keep his typewriter working. He pawned his wedding ring to buy paper. Still, Hill kept going. Picture him in a cramped room, typing away with bills piling up. He lived his own advice. Work harder than you're paid for, and you'll get more later. His struggles make him someone we can relate to, keeping at it even when life's tough, like a lot of us do. When Think and Grow Rich hit in 1937, it gave people a spark during the Depression's dark days. It sold millions, some say 70 million copies, and inspired folks like W. Clement Stone, who built a huge insurance business, and tons of entrepreneurs today who talk about it on X. Stone, for instance, was a broke kid selling newspapers. Then he read Hill's book and used it to build a fortune, passing the ideas on to others. And modern creators like Tony Robbins and Tim Ferriss still build on Hill's ideas today. Hill's ideas also kicked off the self-help scene, from The Secret to YouTube motivation video. He wasn't flawless. Some said he leaned too hard on mindset and ignored stuff like poverty. Others wondered if he really met Carnegie. But his big point, that your thoughts plus action shape your future, still lands. Whether you're starting a hustle, working on a project, or just pushing through a bad week, Hill says, set a goal, keep at it, find your people. Napoleon Hill showed you don't need a fancy start to make a mark. His life was messy, but he proved ideas and hard work can go far. So, what's one thing you're gonna do to chase your goals? Tell us below. Hit subscribe for more stories like this. And let us know who we should cover next. Catch you in the next one.